Shalom, family. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Well, Donald Trump seems to think that they can pay money to encourage, we know they're talking about white women, to have more babies. It's not going to work, y'all. Do you know they've been doing that over in Europe for decades now? They have been offering to pay them somewhat upward 20 and $10 and $20,000, and it never increased their birth rate because it's way more than what they're telling you. A lot of these women are barrenness. They absolutely cannot physically have babies, and many of them in Europe are like that. Some chose a career over having children, so they don't have children. Many of them, you'd be shocked at how many white women you run into that never been married and never had children. There's a lot of them out there, and they don't want children. And the younger generation, they don't want children at all because they're finding it hard to take care of themselves out here. So if they can't take care of themselves, they don't want a child coming in the world that they got to struggle. They're already struggling financially. And in the grand scheme of things, what is $5,000 going to do with all this inflation out here? Okay, it's not much of an incentive. And I'm just telling y'all, this has already played out over Italy, France. I mean, all of these nations over, even some of the Asian nations have offered money for people to grow their families, and it has not worked anywhere on this planet. It has not worked, and it's not going to work here either. It's not going to work, y'all. So let me share my screen. There is a video I want you to see. Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Give me a 1 if you can see the screen. Thank you. Okay. Full screen it.
We've talked a lot about Project 2025 on this show. It lays out a conservative blueprint for the second Trump administration, and some of it is now reality, like getting rid of large numbers of civil servants and dismantling federal agencies. But Project 2025's main priority, restoring traditional families. And the New York Times reports the White House is now assessing ways to convince American women to have more children, including a $5,000 baby bonus and federally funded menstrual cycle classes. David Graham joins me now. He is a writer for The Atlantic and author of The Project, How Project 2025 is Reshaping America. It is just out today. Can we start with this? When they say they want to restore the natural family as the foundation of society, what does that actually mean? Because I look at this White House, and you got the White House press secretary. She went on maternity leave for 1 day. The chief of staff, Susie Wiles, is clearly a woman. Lara Trump was former head of the RNC. She's now got a Fox News show and a budding music career. You got power women all over this White House. So what exactly are they talking about when they say restoring traditional American families?
I think you're right. There's a real gap between what they talk about and what they actually live out. But, you know, they say they want to have fathers who are the main breadwinners. with single income that can support a family. They want mothers at home taking care of children. They want to, have bonuses for for family members to provide childcare in the home. And we can guess who that might be. It's going to be mothers. It's going to be grandmothers, of course. And they want people to conform to gender roles. They want boys and girls. They don't want, anybody who identifies as LGBT. And they want everything to be based in a kind of biblical vision.
Donald Trump has repeatedly denied any ties to Project 2025. But if you look at the last 93 days, how close is his agenda to what's in the playbook?
It has been almost step for step. You can draw a straight line from what we see in these chapters to the executive orders, to the kind of things they're pursuing, civil servants, obviously. And really, those denials were always nonsense. The people who put this together served in the first Trump administration. They served in this administration. They worked on his platform committee for the 2024 campaign. It was hogwash.
Then given that, when people say, oh, Elon Musk is the shadow president, do they have it all wrong? When it comes to a shadow president, is it Russell Vought, right? He's now head of the OMB, has huge power in the administration, and he's one of the main architects of Project 2025.
That's right. And he lays out in the plan exactly how to use the executive branch. He thought very closely about how, for example, OMB could become not so much a managerial center, but a place that forces the agencies to do exactly what the president wants. And what the president wants seems to be exactly what Project 2025 wants.
But all these people, these architects of Project 2025, I want to go back to this gap you were talking about. What do their lives look like? Because when I think about traditional American families, Donald Trump has been married 3 times. Elon Musk has 13 children, and as of last week, he's marketing for open potential wombs to procreate more. So who are these people specifically? Because the kind of traditional families you're talking about don't seem to be the way they live their own lives.
Some of the folks who wrote these chapters do, and what they've discovered is that Donald Trump is a really good vessel. They, I think, understand that he is not a particularly serious person to do this, but that he can achieve what they want. And so they've grafted their goals onto his so that they can get the vision of the family that they want implemented.
But many of the people who voted for Donald Trump voted for him because he was a business guy and they did it for the economy. Do baby bonuses and federally funded menstrual classes, could this hurt Donald Trump politically? Because I would guess that the core base who supports those ideas are not the overwhelming majority of Americans, and even the majority of people who voted for Trump.
I think that's right. I mean, they talk about this as a vision of liberty, but it's not a vision of liberty that I think most Americans associate with. And it doesn't feel like freedom to them. It feels like a step backwards and putting people back into boxes they were in the 1950s.
So what is the end game for the authors of Project 2025? Because when I say I look at Republican lawmakers and over the last 93 days, do they feel like they're winning? And for many of them, the answer is no. But I'm guessing for the Project 2025 crew, they feel like they're winning.
That's right. They want to move things as far as they can, as quickly as they can. And they know they're going to get stopped after 100 days or after 2 years when they get to the midterms. But they're playing a very long game. They just want to move the ball forward. And they are looking, decades into the future at a federal government that's been much more restrained and focused around their goals. When Trump is gone, they're still going to be around.
Okay.
Morning Joe, weekdays 6 to 10 on MSNBC.
I'm going to start.
Okay. So, y'all, you heard that, right? And I'm going to say this again. It's not going to work. They have been doing this in other parts of the world. They don't have one success story, not one. And I'm not exaggerating. Many of the European countries and the Asian nations, they have been offering money now probably since like the 80s and 90s and all into the 2000s. They have been offering, in Asia, they've been offering money, homes and cars and everything. And it still did not increase the birth rate. Paying money, all they have to do is study this and they would have realized it don't work anywhere. And it's because a lot of it has to do with genetics. And y'all, we are in the final days. We're in the final days. It ain't going to be no avalanche of babies coming in these last days. And Donald Trump can't make this happen. If his people, many of the younger people said they don't want children because they can't afford it. And, a lot of times, back during the times when our parents had children, that was the thing to do. You get married, you have children. But the cost of living and everything was different back then. All right. Everything out here in comparison is ridiculous. So, no, can you imagine that the Most High is not going to let them have an explosion and baby boom at this point in time? No, this place is coming to an end. You better get ready for your ending because them babies ain't coming. They're not coming. Look at all this time, y'all. Remember when they said during the pandemic, I remember this, and some of y'all might too. I remember during the pandemic, they were saying, oh, now that everybody is locked up, there's probably going to be a lot of babies coming. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And we were locked down for a year and it did not happen. So if it didn't happen then, what makes you think it's going to happen now? It's not going to happen. Esau is dreaming. It's a dream that's never going to come true. That's right. Domestic violence, Monica. You're absolutely right. That's the only thing that rose in the country when they were stuck behind doors. Yeah, that and lice, family lice epidemic. There was another epidemic called lice epidemic that was going on. Whole families were getting infested with lice. Yeah, that happened, but the babies didn't come. So, y'all, these babies ain't coming. Donald Trump is dreaming. That ship done sailed, Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what most of these young people out here say. They said they can barely pay for their apartment, their car, their bills, and they really don't have much of nothing left. So how are they going to have children? And did you see what unemployment looks like out here? It's a lot of people out of work right now. It's a lot of people out of work. It's not just the federal, it's out here in the private sector. There's a bunch of layoffs going on to this very day. And Donald Trump has a lot to do with all these layoffs over those tariffs. Mm-hmm. And look at the nightmare, because we know they don't mean black women, but I'm just saying this. Look at the nightmare black women go through having babies in this country. Oh no, there's a lot of evil going on in this place. It ain't going to be blessed anymore. There's no more blessings coming for you. And there are not going to be any babies either. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. So, dark skinned brother, thank you for the super chat. Shalom, Lisa, my warrior sister and family in the chat. Dark skinned brother, thank you for the super sticker. Erica J, thank you for the super sticker. Dark skinned brother, thank you for the super sticker. Spencer W, thank you for the super chat. If it ain't working for the Asians, why try? Hell, $5,000, not enough to cover the hospital bill for having the baby. You're right. That's a very low amount. Do you know how you would bust through that money just in the first month that your baby is here? You would just run through that money because everything out here is ridiculous. Spencer W, thank you for becoming a new channel member. Dark Skin Brother, thank you for the super chat. Keep up the amazing work, my warrior sister. Thank you. Monica Gregory, thank you for the super sticker. Dark Skin Brother, thank you for the super sticker. Thank you again, Dark Skin Brother, and again for the super sticker, and again for the super sticker. And Ezra Jacobs, 712, thank you for the super sticker. Yeah, I mean, Donald Trump, what he's proposing. You see, y'all, this is coming out of the Project 2025 playbook. That's where this is coming from. You know, having babies for them is easier said than done. So I don't see this working out, Donald Trump. So I sure hope you got a plan B and not a concept of a plan B, because you know how y'all like saying that mess now. It's a concept of an idea. In other words, you have nothing. So T Key, thank you for the super sticker. So y'all, I'm not going to keep you too much longer because I got your orders to do. So if you get your order in before midnight, it will go out tomorrow. Get those hair products, y'all. Get those hair products. You want them extra inches? This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it for real. Yeah. I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. No, I didn't. All right, y'all. Please enjoy the rest of your night and be on the lookout for my videos a little later. Shalom, family.